Footsteps in fresh snow, then nothing. No return trail. Polly stepped out. It was morning. Cold air touched her face. She tightened her scarf. The road was empty. She walked toward the shop. Boots made a crunching sound. Each step left a mark. Her eyes scanned the street. Everything looked normal. Then she stopped. Something caught her eye. A red strap near the hedge. She moved closer. It was a bag. She bent down. The postman's bag. She recognized it. Leather. Red strap side buckle. She reached for it. It was damp. Not frozen. Dropped recently. She looked around. No bicycle. No sign of the postman. She looked at the snow. Footprints led to the hedge. They ended there. No return prints. She stood up. Held the bag. Her heart started to race. She opened the flap. Letters were inside, cards, packages, envelopes. Some were damp. In the middle, a folded paper. She pulled it out. No envelope. She opened it. Only 5 words. He knows we're finished. No name, no address, no date. She put the note back, closed the bag. Her breath fast. She looked around again. No one. She listened. The wind moved lightly. Nothing else. She stepped back. Still nothing. Her mind raced. Where was Thomas? Why was the bag here? Why no return footprints? Was this a mistake? She turned to leave, then froze. She heard something. A crunch behind her. She turned fast. No one. Just trees, just snow. She held the bag tight. Started walking. Another sound behind her. Another crunch. She turned again. Still nothing. She moved faster. Breath short. Hands cold. Boots slipping. She didn't stop. Eyes forward. She reached the vicar's gate. She looked back. Nothing moved. Then something shifted. Between 2 trees. A shape. Standing still. Not walking. Not hiding. She couldn't see the face. But someone was there. Still. Watching. Not blinking. She stepped back. Body stiff. One hand on the gate. Eyes. Locked on the shape. It didn't move. She opened the gate. Stepped through. Turned again. Still there. Closer now. Still not moving. Still watching. No words. No sound. Just presence. Polly's voice broke. Her body froze. She couldn't think. Then it hit her. Full awareness. She screamed. Someone is watching her from the woods. The fire crackled, but the silence outside was louder. Hastings checked his watch. It was 8:10. He looked up. Poirot sat across from him. Calm, still, focused. The Admiral poured tea. He was in uniform, as usual. Mrs. Dalrymple moved quietly. She placed cups on the table. Steam rose. Cinnamon filled the room. Pipe smoke lingered near the fire. The fire cracked again. No one spoke. Poirot stirred his cup. Hastings looked toward the window. The snow hadn't stopped. The village was still. No post yet. He frowned. Mrs. Dalrymple noticed. She spoke first. "Strange," she said. "He's always on. Time." "Who?" Hastings asked. "The postman," she said. "Thomas Cleeve." Poirot raised an eyebrow. "He hasn't come?" "Not today," she replied. The Admiral set his cup down. "Never missed a day," he said. "Rain, snow, anything." "Even Christmas?" Hastings asked. "Especially Christmas," she said. Poirot leaned forward. "He always arrives before breakfast?" "Always," she confirmed. "Has anyone seen him today?" "No," she said. Poirot paused. He tapped his fingers twice, then looked at Hastings. "Reliable men do not vanish." Hastings nodded. The Admiral stood up. "I'll ask Jenkins to check," he said. He left the room. Poirot remained seated. He stared into the fire. Hastings watched him. "What are you thinking?" Poirot didn't answer. He was still. Focused, Mrs. Dalrymple returned. She held a coat. "I'll go ask the grocer," she said. Poirot stopped her. "No need," he said. "Let us observe first." Hastings followed his gaze. Poirot looked toward the hallway. Footsteps echoed outside the room. The Admiral returned. "No one's seen him," he said. "Grocer hasn't. Neither has the milkman." Poirot stood. His voice was calm. "I believe we should investigate." Hastings grabbed his coat. They stepped into the hallway. Poirot moved slowly. He was thinking, not speaking. They reached the main door. Snow blocked the path. Poirot pointed to the gate. "No footprints," he said. Hastings nodded. They walked toward the street. Every door was shut. Every window covered. Too quiet. Too early for silence. Poirot stopped. He looked at the church tower. Bells would ring soon. He turned. "Something is wrong." Hastings didn't answer. He looked down the road. Empty. Still. Then looked back. Poirot was watching the inn. "Let's visit the vicar after breakfast," Poirot said. Hastings nodded again. They walked back. The wind picked up. They reached the house. Inside, the fire burned steady, but something had shifted. The Admiral was pacing now. Mrs. Dalrymple stared at the clock. No one spoke. Poirot sat back down. He folded his hands. He spoke softly. "But the postman hasn't arrived." He paused. "Ever. No drag marks, just a perfect imprint, like someone placed it with care." Poirot stopped at the hedge. Hastings stood beside him. The constable stayed a few steps back. The bag lay near the base, half buried in snow. Poirot didn't touch it. He walked around it, looked at the snow. No drag marks. Only one set of footprints. Hastings leaned forward. "Looks like someone set it down." Poirot nodded. "Deliberate placement," he said. "Not dropped, not fallen." The constable stepped forward. "It was a child who found it," he said. "She told her father. He told the vicar." Poirot still didn't move. "Has anyone handled it since?" "No," Harling replied. "Good," Poirot said. He knelt beside the bag. He opened the flap carefully. Snow shifted off the edge. He reached in, pulled out a few letters, checked addresses, ordinary deliveries. He placed them aside. More letters followed. Some cards. One parcel. Then he saw it, a folded sheet of paper. No stamp, no envelope. Just a single page. He removed it, held it up. The paper was thick. Cream color. The ink was dark. Writing tilted to the right. Only one line was written. He read it once. He read it again. Then handed it to Hastings. Hastings read aloud. "He knows we're finished." Poirot took it back. He turned it over. Blank on the back. No signature, no date. He folded it neatly, slipped it back in, closed the bag. He stood up, looked down at the snow again. "Whoever left this," Poirot said, "wanted it found." "Not stolen?" Hastings asked. "Number planted," Poirot replied. He turned to Harling. "Mark the area," he said. "No one touches anything." Harling nodded. "I'll post 2 lads here." Poirot walked away. Hastings followed him. "What do you think?" "I think the note was meant to be read," Poirot said. "By who?" "By us." They reached the road. Poirot looked both ways. Everything was still. He pointed to the ground. "No return prints." "No bicycle," Hastings added. "No sign of struggle," Poirot said. "Only one message," Hastings said. Poirot nodded once. They kept walking. Inside, Poirot sat by the table. He opened the bag again, removed the same note, unfolded it, stared at it. The watch on his wrist ticked. Hastings stayed silent. Poirot didn't look up. He whispered once, "He knows we're finished." Note inside bag. The snow muffled everything, even secrets. Poirot knocked. The door creaked open. A man in a wool sweater stepped out. His eyes narrowed. "Yes?" "Detective Poirot," Poirot said. "This is Captain Hastings. We're asking about the postman," Hastings added. The man didn't move. "Which one?" "Thomas Cleeve," Poirot replied. The man nodded slowly. "He didn't come today." "We know," Poirot said. "We're investigating." The man shrugged. "Don't know anything." "Did he say anything odd this week?" "No." He closed the door. Poirot wrote something in his notebook. They moved to the next house. An old woman answered. She kept the door half shut. Her eyes darted behind them. "Did you see Thomas yesterday?" Poirot asked. "No," she said. "He brings letters, not conversation." Poirot tilted his head. "Did he seem troubled recently?" She paused. "Not that I saw." She coughed, then said, "Try the butcher." She closed the door. At the butcher's shop a boy stood at the counter. He was cleaning a knife. Poirot introduced himself. "Thomas came in 3 days ago," the boy said. "He bought beef. Looked fine. Did he say anything strange?" "Only asked about someone," the boy replied. "Who?" "Didn't say." "Was he angry?" Hastings asked. "No," the boy said, "just quiet." Poirot looked around, then nodded. They left. Outside, they crossed the square. A woman walked by fast. Poirot stopped her. She avoided eye contact. "He's missing?" she asked. "Yes," Poirot said. "Do you know anything?" "No." She hesitated. "Maybe ask the baker." The baker knew nothing. Neither did the grocer. Everyone claimed nothing. No one wanted to talk. Poirot noticed it. "Fear," he muttered. Hastings nodded. "They're hiding something." "Something recent," Poirot said, "or very old." At the school, the headmistress greeted them. She invited them into the hall. Poirot looked around. Children whispered behind books. Hastings spotted a girl watching them. She stood alone. Poirot walked to her. She didn't run. She looked curious. He smiled softly. "Do you know Thomas?" She nodded. "He brings letters." Poirot crouched slightly. "Did he talk to you?" She looked down, then up. "Not me," she said. Poirot waited. She leaned in. "He talked to Liza." "Who is Liza?" "My friend," she said. "She's hiding." Poirot stood. "Where is she hiding?" "Library stairs," she whispered. Poirot and Hastings walked quickly. They turned the corner. A small girl sat under the steps. Poirot sat on the lowest stair. "Liza?" She didn't look up. "Yes," she said. Poirot kept his voice calm. "You spoke with Thomas?" She nodded. "Yesterday?" She nodded again. Poirot leaned closer. "What did he ask you?" Her voice was faint. She didn't move. Her lips barely parted. She whispered, "He asked about someone dead." Millie polished glasses, but her hands trembled. Poirot entered the inn. Millie was behind the bar. She didn't look up. She kept wiping a glass. Her hand shook slightly. Hastings noticed. "She's nervous," he said quietly. Poirot nodded. He approached slowly. "Good morning, mademoiselle." Millie glanced up, then back to the glass. "Morning," she said. Poirot removed his gloves. "Do you know Thomas Cleeve?" She didn't answer. Poirot repeated the name. She stopped polishing, then nodded once. "Of course. Did you see him recently?" "Yesterday morning." "What time?" "Just before 10. She picked up another glass. "Was he alone?" "Yes." "Did he speak to you?" She hesitated. "A little." "What did he say?" Millie shrugged. "Nothing unusual." Poirot looked at Hastings, then back at her. "You're lying," he said. Her hand stopped mid-wipe. She didn't argue. She put the glass down. "What do you want to know?" Poirot leaned on the counter. "Who was he meeting?" Millie looked away. "No one," she said. Hastings stepped closer. Poirot stayed, calm. "Miss, the bag was found. Letters still inside. But he is missing." She said nothing. Poirot continued. "There was a note inside." She froze. "It said he knows we're finished." Her eyes widened. "I've heard that before," she whispered. "Where?" Poirot asked. She hesitated again. "In the back room," she said. "A month ago." "Who said it?" "Major Blythe," she replied. Hastings blinked. "The war officer?" Millie nodded. "He comes sometimes. Drinks alone." Poirot folded his arms. Was there something between them? "Not them," she said quietly. "Her." "Her? Thomas loved someone. Who?" She looked at the door. "Celia Blythe, the Major's daughter." "Yes." Poirot stayed silent. Millie added, "It was secret." Poirot nodded once. "Who else knew?" "Only me, I think." Poirot took out a small notebook. "Did you overhear anything else?" Millie swallowed. "Thomas said he couldn't lie any more." Poirot kept writing. "He wanted to tell her father." "Yes. He thought it was time." Poirot looked up. "Did he seem afraid?" "Number just tired." "Did he come back later?" Millie shook her head. "Did Celia ever come here?" "Number, but she sent letters." "How do you know?" "Thomas showed me one once." "Do you remember what it said?" "Number, just something about truth." Poirot closed his notebook. He stepped back. Hastings followed. They turned to leave. Millie called out. Poirot stopped. She looked straight at him. Her voice was low. He was going to tell her. Personally. "Some letters are like ghosts. They don't rest." Poirot and Hastings entered the archive room. It was part of the church. The vicar led them in. "Old things," he said, "some from the war." The vicar handed Poirot a box, labeled "Private," returned to Captain Elmore. Poirot opened it. Inside were papers, letters, notes. Dust rose from the lid. Hastings coughed. Poirot ignored it. He pulled out a letter. Edges cracked. It was dated 1918, but never sent. Unsealed, folded once. Hastings read the name, to Celia B. Poirot opened it carefully. The paper was brittle, the ink faded, but legible. He read aloud. "I can't keep this from you. I saw what he did." Poirot paused. Hastings leaned in. "Go on." Poirot continued. "I know it was Thomas. I heard it myself." "He thought no one knew." Poirot stopped again. "Strange," he said. "This was never sent?" The vicar nodded. "We found it in the desk, weeks ago." "Why not deliver it?" Hastings asked. "No address," the vicar said. "Just initials." Poirot examined the bottom. No signature. But the handwriting matched another document. A supply request. Signed, Captain A. Elmore. Poirot looked at the envelope. No stamp. "Meant to be delivered by hand," he said. "Or hidden," Hastings added. Poirot agreed. They checked more letters. One mentioned the inn. Another mentioned the woods. Another had a date scratched out. Poirot sorted them by handwriting. "All same hand," he said. "Elmore wrote these. But why hide them?" "Guilt," Poirot said. "Or protection." The next page had only one line. He lied to her. "I couldn't." No context, no details, just that line. Poirot folded it back, placed it in the box, then paused. He checked again. Underneath was a torn envelope. It was addressed. But the name was smeared, only one word clear, Celia, no address, no return mark. "Why here?" Hastings asked. "Why not sent?" Poirot's voice lowered. "He never wanted it found." "Then why write it?" "Because he had to," Poirot said. He stood, turned to the vicar. "Do you know what happened to Elmore?" The vicar nodded. "He died, peacefully, a few months ago." "Any visitors before that?" "Yes, a young man. Once, did he leave a name?" "Number. But he asked about Celia." Poirot's face changed. He turned away, held the letter tightly, walked out slowly. Hastings followed. Outside, Hastings broke the silence. "Do you think Thomas read this?" "No," Poirot said, "but someone did." They reached the gate. Snow crunched underfoot. Poirot stopped walking. Hastings did too. He looked back at the church, then at Poirot. His tone lowered. What if it never got lost? Her smile held something tight, like grief wearing pearls. Dorothy opened the door. She smiled. Small, controlled. Detective Poirot? Yes, madam. I've made tea, she said. They entered. The room was quiet. A small fire burned. Poirot sat first. Hastings remained standing. She poured tea. Lavender scent lingered. Her fingers trembled slightly. Poirot noticed. You knew Thomas Cleeve? She nodded. We spoke sometimes. Where? Here. Mostly here. Poirot sipped slowly. You were close? She blinked. I suppose. No letters? Some? Do you still have them? She looked away. No. Destroyed? She didn't reply. Poirot continued. When did you see him last? 2 days ago. Did he seem upset? Number tired, maybe. Did he mention Celia Blythe? She paused. Yes. Poirot waited. He said he had made a decision. To end something. She nodded. Did he say what? No. Did he seem afraid? No, she said, but distracted. Did he say where he was going next? No. Poirot placed his cup down. Miss Pembridge, do you know why he might vanish? No. Do you believe he's alive? She hesitated. I don't know. Poirot leaned in. You're hiding something. No. Yes, madam, I can see it. She looked away, hands folded tightly. Hastings stepped forward. Did he ever argue with anyone in front of you? Yes. Who? Major Blythe. Over Celia? Yes. What happened? They yelled. Nothing more. When was this? Months ago. Did they speak again? I don't think so. Poirot tapped the chair arm. You were fond of Thomas? She said nothing, then nodded. Everyone liked him. But you loved him. Her eyes narrowed. Poirot didn't move. I don't discuss that, she said. He nodded once. You wrote him letters? Yes. But he never answered one. She froze. How do you know that? I saw his bag, Poirot said. No letters from you. She looked down. He waited. She didn't speak. Poirot stood. So, you were expecting a reply? She didn't look up. Poirot stepped closer. Or a visit. Her voice was flat. I was expecting Thomas. She looked toward the door. Her smile faded. He never came. He remembered everything except how to let go. Albert Hitchens opened the door. He was already holding a notebook. His fingers were stained with ink. His eyes didn't blink much. He didn't smile. You are here for Thomas. Poirot nodded. Yes, monsieur. Albert stepped aside. Come in. The sitting room was silent. A small clock ticked. Lavender oil lingered in the air. Albert sat down. He placed the notebook on the table. I write everything, he said. Names, times, words. Poirot watched him carefully. Then you must be very useful. I am. When did you last see Thomas? 2 days ago. What time? 9:43 in the morning. Here? No, Albert said. Post Road, South Side. Did he stop? Yes. We spoke for 2 minutes. About what? Albert flipped the notebook. About a letter. Poirot leaned forward. What kind of letter? Albert looked up. He said he had to deliver something. Something big. Did he show you? Number, but he said it would change things. Did he mention a name? No. Albert turned a page. He used the words truth, finally, and over. Poirot tilted his head. You remember that exactly? Albert nodded once. Did he seem afraid? No. Angry? Number but tense. Poirot paused. Did you try to stop him? Albert looked down. I advised him strongly. Why? Because some truths don't help. Poirot crossed his arms. Did he say where he was going? Number but I know who the letter was for. Tell me. Albert stayed quiet. Poirot pressed again. I need to know. Albert looked away. I can't prove it. Tell me anyway. Albert took a breath. Major Blythe. Why him? Because he's always had secrets. Poirot stayed still. What kind of secrets? War things. Family things. Did Thomas say that? Number I knew. From what? Albert tapped the notebook. Listen, I write. I compare. Poirot nodded slowly. Did you warn Thomas? Yes. Clearly? Albert's voice dropped. I begged him. Begged him what? Albert's hands tightened. I told him to leave it. He didn't. No. Poirot stood up. Albert remained seated. I told him. People get hurt. Did he reply? He said it was too late. Poirot stepped toward the door, then stopped. He turned around. Albert stared at the wall. His lips barely moved. He whispered, I begged him not to deliver it. Still water. Deep secrets. Poirot stood near the old pond. The edge was stiff with frost. Hastings stayed behind him. No one else was around. It was silent. Poirot stepped closer. Reeds cracked under his shoes. He looked at the surface. Still, motionless. Why here? Hastings asked. Poirot didn't answer. He scanned the ground. Tracks, not recent. One set led toward the water. None returned. No bicycle marks, just boots. Poirot crouched. Someone walked here, he said, then vanished. Poirot nodded. He pointed. See the break in the reeds? Hastings stepped beside him. Yes. Poirot stepped over the edge. He knelt by the waterline, touched the mud. Soft, disrupted. Could it be animals? No, Poirot replied. Too clean. Straight in. He stood again. Hastings looked around. I see no signs of a struggle. Neither do I, Poirot said, but something happened. Here? Poirot nodded slowly. He pulled out his notebook. Checked something. Timing, he whispered. Everything matches. Matches what? The path. The trail. The girl's sighting. This far from the bag? Yes. Poirot walked left. He stopped near a bench. Pointed again. A second print. Heel only. Standing? Yes. Poirot traced it with his cane. Someone waited here. Watching? Poirot nodded. He knew the postman would pass. So he followed him? No. He was already here. Poirot looked back at the water. He didn't chase him. Hastings frowned. Then how did Thomas end up in the pond? Poirot tapped the cane. He paused, maybe rested, maybe read. Then Poirot stepped closer to the water again. He lowered himself slowly, looked across the surface, then whispered. He was not alone. Hastings leaned in. You think they met here? Yes. Voluntarily? Maybe. Poirot touched the water. Cold. Still. He stood up. Weight was used. What? Something heavy dragged the body down. You're sure? Yes. Poirot turned to the right, pointed at a stone pile. One of those is missing. A rock? Poirot nodded. Big enough to sink a man. Hastings stepped back. His voice dropped. Then it wasn't an accident. No. Suicide? Poirot shook his head. He didn't jump. Then? Poirot stared at the water. He didn't blink. The footprints ended here. Hastings looked down. Someone pushed him? Poirot turned. His voice was clear. Someone pulled him in. Frozen hands, open eyes. A story sealed shut. The boy screamed first. He had thrown a stone. The ice cracked. Something floated up. Something pale. The villagers gathered. Someone called the constable. He arrived quickly. Poirot was already near. So was Hastings. The body was caught in reeds, half frozen, water-soaked coat, bag missing, hat still on. They pulled it out slowly. The crowd stepped back. One woman fainted. The others gasped. Poirot did not react. He stepped forward, hands behind his back. The constable looked nervous. He's been here days, he said. Poirot nodded. The eyes were still open. One hand was clenched, the other loose. Poirot pointed. "Check his pockets." The constable did, pulled out a soggy paper, too wet to read. Nothing else. Poirot looked at the left hand. He crouched, gently opened the fingers. Inside was a button, dark, round. Poirot took it. "From what?" Hastings asked. "Unknown," Poirot said. He stood. "Clothes torn?" The constable checked. "Just here," he said. Pointed to the back. "Scraped." "Before or after?" "Hard to say." Poirot looked at the ice. It had refrozen. Only the crack showed. He measured the distance, 10 feet from the shore. "He didn't fall here," Poirot said. "He was pulled?" Hastings asked. Poirot nodded. "Then dropped." "From where?" "Shoreline." Poirot pointed to a slope. "Someone strong, quick. Why there?" "Hidden path." The villagers whispered. One said a prayer. Another said murder. Poirot said nothing. He examined the face. Thomas Cleave. Age confirmed. Clothes matched. No signs of a struggle nearby. Only quiet. Poirot turned to the constable. "Anyone come forward yet?" "No," he said. "No witnesses." "No confessions." Poirot nodded. He handed the button to Hastings. "Check who wears this type." Hastings pocketed it. Poirot stared at the pond, then turned to the crowd. "You all saw him weekly. You all trusted him. Someone here knows what happened." No one spoke. All eyes lowered. Poirot walked away from the pond. Hastings followed. No one else moved. The constable began shouting orders. The villagers began to scatter. Halfway down the path, Hastings asked, "Are you sure it's murder?" Poirot stopped. He didn't turn around. He said firmly, "This was not an accident." One was dying. One was already dead. Both kept the same lie. Poirot entered the study. Harold Pembridge sat hunched, blanket across his legs, cough deep in his chest, breathing slow. "Detective," Harold said. Poirot nodded. He stayed standing. Harold gestured to the chair. Poirot didn't sit. "You knew Thomas Cleave," Poirot began. "Yes." "You spoke recently?" Harold nodded. 2 days before. "Did he bring something?" Harold shook his head. "He came to talk." "About?" "Old things." "Which old things?" Harold shifted. The chair creaked. "Letters. War. Names. Celia." Harold didn't answer. Poirot stepped closer. "You knew about her and Thomas?" "Yes." "You opposed it?" Harold coughed. "I warned her." "Why?" "He wasn't her kind." "Or he knew something?" Harold looked away. Poirot waited. "I knew Thomas would talk," Harold said. "About you?" "Yes." Poirot pulled out the button. "Yours?" Harold blinked. "No." "Your coat is missing one." Harold didn't respond. Poirot continued. "You were near the pond." Harold's hands tightened. "You followed him?" "No." "You met him?" "Yes." "When?" "Night before he vanished." "Where?" "Here." Poirot wrote notes. Hastings stood behind him. "What did he say?" "He said he was done hiding." "What were you hiding?" Harold sighed. "A death." Poirot stopped writing. "Whose?" "Captain Elmore." "During the war?" Harold nodded. "Thomas knew the truth?" "Yes." "And threatened to tell?" "He said Celia deserved it." Poirot circled the chair. "What exactly happened to Elmore?" Harold coughed again. "Not battle. Not accident." Poirot waited. "He was pushed," Harold whispered. "By you?" "No." "By who?" "I don't know." "But you saw." "I arrived too late." "Then why lie?" "For the unit. For honor." Poirot stopped. "You confessed to Thomas." Harold nodded. "He was going to expose it?" "Yes." "So you killed him?" "No." "You argued?" "Yes." "Loudly?" "Yes." "Anyone here?" "Dorothy." Poirot turned to Hastings. "Check her statement." He faced Harold again. "You had motive." "And time." "I didn't follow him," Harold said. "But you were afraid he'd go public?" "Yes," Poirot paced. "What did he say last?" Harold closed his eyes. "He said it ends soon." "That night?" "I thought he meant a letter. A letter to Celia?" "Maybe." "Did you read it?" "No." "Did you try to stop it?" Harold looked down. "I tried to reason with him." Poirot stepped forward. "Your coat, Harold. Find it." "I didn't push him." "Someone did." "I told him not to do it." He looked up. "I was desperate," he said. Poirot didn't speak. Harold's voice dropped. He whispered, "But I didn't kill him." She wept, not for the truth, but for the years it had stolen. Dorothy opened the door. Poirot walked in. He removed his gloves. She noticed his face. Something had changed. "Sit," she said softly. Poirot remained standing. Hastings waited outside. Dorothy folded her hands. They trembled slightly. "I have questions," Poirot said. "I know," she whispered. "You were close to James." "Elmore." She nodded. "We were engaged. He died during the war." "Yes, but not as reported." She froze. "What?" Poirot placed a letter on the table. The paper was aged, the ink barely visible. She reached for it, but he stopped her. "It was never sent," he said. "Why?" "He wrote it. He meant to give it to you. But someone hid it." She said nothing. Poirot continued. "He saw something terrible." She blinked. "What?" Poirot leaned forward. "He witnessed a murder, but he refused to stay silent. He was silenced." She stared. Harold knew. She shook her head. "No." "Yes," Poirot said firmly. "Thomas found out." She gasped. Poirot placed another page. More faded writing, another confession. Dorothy's hand reached again. "He said you deserved the truth," Poirot told her. She looked away. "He said he never stopped thinking of you." Her eyes filled. Her hands trembled harder. Poirot stepped back. "He meant to send this." "He never did." Number he was stopped. By whom? Poirot didn't answer. Dorothy stood, walked to the fireplace. She held the letter near the flame. Poirot didn't stop her. She didn't burn it. She dropped it on the table. Her voice cracked. "He never stopped." Poirot stayed silent. She sat again, pressed her hand to her mouth. Poirot looked away. The room was still. Only the fire popped. Her voice returned. "How did Thomas find this?" Poirot replied. He traced the old files. Compared names. "Was he going to tell me?" "Yes." "He came here?" "Yes." "But he left." Poirot nodded. "He was planning to return," Poirot said. "But someone stopped him." Her eyes narrowed. "Harold?" Poirot didn't reply. Dorothy picked up the letter. She stared at it. Poirot waited. She folded it again, carefully. "I kept waiting," she whispered. Poirot said nothing. The fire dimmed slightly. Her hands lowered. She looked up. "Tell me just one thing," she said. Poirot raised an eyebrow. She didn't blink. She asked quietly, "So, James never stopped loving me?" The place was warm, but everyone inside was frozen. Poirot pushed the door open. Millie was behind the counter, the same towel, same tension in her shoulders. She looked up. "You came back?" Poirot nodded. "More questions?" She didn't argue, just poured 2 mugs. Hastings stayed near the door. The fire popped. A man coughed in the corner. Boots dragged on the wooden floor. Poirot approached slowly. "Sit," she asked. "No," he replied. "Thomas was here last." "With Harold?" She shook her head. "Harold was early afternoon." Poirot leaned forward. "And after him?" Her eyes shifted. She hesitated. "Millie." She exhaled. "Hitchens." Poirot stayed still. "He didn't mention that." "Because he asked me not to." Poirot raised an eyebrow. What did he want? He sat right there. She pointed to the stool. He asked me if Thomas had come back. And had he? No. Did Hitchens say why he was looking? He said something wasn't right. Did he leave anything? No. Take anything? No. Did he say where he was going? No. But he looked upset. Scared? She nodded. More tense than usual. Poirot stepped back. You didn't think to tell me this before. I promised him. Poirot narrowed his eyes. He's part of this. Millie didn't reply. Did they argue? Hitchens and Thomas? Not in front of me. But they met? Yes. When? A week ago, outside. Did you hear them? Number but Thomas looked shaken after. Why? I don't know. He ever mention Elmore? Not to me. But he was reading something, she said. What? She pointed to the back. Newspaper clippings, war stuff. Did Hitchens know? Yes. They spoke about it? Probably. Not here, though. Poirot turned to Hastings. He lied. Hastings nodded. Poirot turned back to Millie. Last time Thomas left this inn, who saw him? Millie thought. I saw him go out. Then Harold came. Then he left too. Then who? She looked away. Poirot's tone sharpened. Tell me, she whispered. Albert came back, quiet. Sat alone. What time? Close to dusk. Did you speak? Number he left in a hurry. Poirot stepped closer. So Harold wasn't the last man to see him alive. She looked at him. He was already walking toward the door. Hastings followed. Poirot didn't stop. He just said, Then Harold wasn't the last man to see him alive. Even the tidiest minds can crumble under love. Albert Hitchens opened the door slowly. He saw Poirot, said nothing, moved aside. Poirot entered. Hastings followed. Albert's office was small, a desk, 2 chairs, nothing more. He pointed to the seats. Poirot didn't sit. Neither did Hastings. You came to ask again, Albert said. No, Poirot replied. I came to end it. Albert blinked. And what? The lie. Albert's mouth tightened. Poirot removed a button, held it in his hand. Albert looked at it. You dropped this near the pond. Albert stayed silent. It matches your coat. Still nothing. Poirot stepped closer. You were there after Harold. Albert exhaled. Quietly. You returned to the inn, then followed Thomas. He turned toward the desk, picked up a pen. You lied to us. Albert set the pen down. Poirot kept going. You said you warned him, but you watched him walk. Albert turned around. I begged him, he said. You waited in the woods. You saw him stop at the water. Albert nodded. He had the letter? Yes. You read it? Number. But I knew what it said. How? Harold told me. What he confessed. About Elmore? Yes. About what really happened? Yes, and you didn't want Dorothy to know. Albert looked down. She had peace. She'd built her life. Poirot's voice lowered. But Thomas wanted to break that. He said she had a right. She did, Poirot said. But you didn't let her have it. Albert turned toward the fire. I asked him to stop. He wouldn't. Albert nodded. I followed him, just to talk. Then what? He wouldn't listen. He said he'd deliver it the next morning. So you acted. Albert didn't speak. Poirot waited. Hastings didn't move. The room felt smaller. I didn't plan to, Albert said, but when he turned his back, you struck him. No. Then I grabbed him. Why? He said Dorothy deserved the truth. You pulled him. Albert nodded. He slipped. We both went down. Then he tried to get up. He shouted, You didn't let him? Albert's eyes watered. I pressed his shoulders down. Poirot stepped forward. Albert. Albert didn't look up. I held him there. He struggled, but the water was shallow. You kept him in it? Albert shook, only for a few seconds. Then I let go. But it was enough. Albert dropped into the chair. It creaked loudly. He covered his face. Poirot said nothing. He waited. Albert reached into a drawer, pulled out a torn piece of paper, handed it to Poirot. The handwriting matched. It was the missing letter. "She never read it," Albert said. Poirot folded it, slowly, then asked, "Why?" Albert whispered, "I pressed his face into the water for her. As snow melts, everything buried begins to show." The constable arrived before noon. Albert didn't resist. He walked to the wagon. No words, no fight. The villagers stared. Some stepped back. No one cheered. No one wept. Millie turned away. Dorothy stayed inside. She didn't open the door. Poirot stood near the post road. He watched the wheel marks. Snow had started to melt. Dark patches showed beneath. A slow thaw. Hastings joined him, hands deep in his coat. "They believed in him," he said. Poirot nodded. "He believed he was protecting her." "Did he?" Poirot didn't answer. He looked at the inn. Closed for the day. No laughter now. The church bell rang. Once. Poirot checked his watch. Funeral time. Thomas would be buried soon. Only a few would attend. No family came forward. Dorothy had sent flowers. A simple white bundle. Hastings carried the note. He handed it to Poirot. It read, "You were brave." Poirot folded it. They walked toward the church, each step slower. Slush gathered at their heels. The ceremony was quiet. Brief words, no names. Just the roll, the loss. Dorothy stood behind a tree. No black, only gray. She didn't speak, didn't move, not even when they lowered the coffin. Poirot noticed her hands, still trembling. Hastings watched her too. He whispered, "She never got her ending." Poirot replied, "She got the truth, but not peace." Poirot looked away. "It depends." After the service, Dorothy walked to them. She nodded once, then placed something in Poirot's hand. A button, identical to the one from the pond. "His coat," she said. Poirot accepted it. She didn't say more, then walked away. Alone. The constable approached. "All done," he said. Poirot nodded. "Will he speak again?" "He's quiet." Poirot sighed. He spoke enough. They returned to the path. Puddles had widened, the roads no longer white. Children kicked snow, dogs barked near doors. Life resumed, but slower, heavier. Poirot reached the edge of the village. Hastings stood beside him. "Do you think he regrets it?" "Yes," Poirot said, "but not for the reason you think." "Then why?" "He failed to protect her, not from pain, but from truth." Hastings paused. They turned back once. Dorothy had vanished. The bell rang again, louder this time, echoing. Poirot pulled his coat tighter. Hastings cleared his throat, then asked softly, "But was the truth enough to bring peace?" The letter arrived. Late, but not too late. Dorothy opened the front door. The envelope was on the step. No name, just her address. Her hands trembled. She picked it up. The paper was thin, yellowed at the edges. She turned it over. No stamp. Inside, a single page. Folded. Old ink. Familiar handwriting. James Elmore. She sat at the table, unfolded it slowly. The words were neat. She read silently. Line by line. "Dorothy, I know I should have written earlier, but I couldn't. Not after what happened, not after what I saw." Her hand covered her mouth. She kept reading. "I loved you. I still do. That hasn't changed. But I'm not the same. Something broke in me. Over there." Dorothy paused. The words blurred. She blinked once, then continued. "Captain Elmore died by another man's hand. It wasn't chance. It wasn't war. It was betrayal. I saw it. Dorothy looked up. The room stayed still. She lowered her eyes again. I tried to speak, but the officers warned me, said it would bring shame, said it would ruin names. I stayed silent. Her thumb rubbed the edge of the page. But I couldn't marry you with that lie. I couldn't pretend. So I left. Cowardly, maybe, but I thought I was protecting you. A tear touched the paper. She wiped it fast, then finished the last part. If this ever reaches you, it means the truth is finally out. Maybe someone braver than me delivered it. If so, thank them, and forgive me. It was signed, simply, Thomas. She folded the letter again, carefully, deliberately, then placed it on the table, next to the teacup. Poirot stood outside the gate. He didn't knock. He saw the curtains move. He waited. Dorothy didn't come out. He turned and walked away. Step by step, snowflakes began to fall again, light, silent. Inside, Dorothy stared at the folded paper. She didn't burn it, didn't hide it. She just sat with it, breathing slow. The truth had come. Years late, but clear. She finally understood. All of it. She opened the drawer, placed the letter inside, closed it gently, then stood, still trembling. Some truths hurt, others heal. This one did both. It left space and silence. The bell outside rang, a reminder of the hour. She didn't look at the clock, didn't need to. The moment was complete. Some truths come like snowfall, soft, quiet, cold, but they cover everything.